What's up, party people? I am still in Houston, Texas. At the hotel, I can see Panther down there. Look like it still has all its glass. That's a good thing, because I like having my tools to do my work. But I'm in Houston. I broke a bracket yesterday doing the S60 engine removal. I tell people all the time, do not try to lift that engine by that bracket. It was so hot, I couldn't think straight, couldn't breathe, cramping all over, broke the bracket. So now I gotta head to the salvage yard, get a bracket to replace the one I busted. And I hadn't had time to even post a video over the last few days. I've been busy trying to get out of here to make it to Chicago. And here I am, 4 or 5 days later, still in Houston. Not gonna make it to Springfield, Missouri. Not gonna make it to Chicago. I have a doctor's appointment in 2 days. Hopefully I'll finish this engine replacement and this S60 today. It's a day and a half drive back to Cincinnati. Hopefully I'll make my doctor's appointment on time. And then I have Mita flying back to Cincinnati Thursday. And then I'll be headed to Chicago. Man, I'm probably not gonna make it there till next Sunday. I feel bad, but had that family emergency down there in South Texas. I had a couple people here in Houston, cars wasn't running. The only people I've stopped to help is people who had vehicles, no transportation, no decent transportation. That's the only reason why I stopped to help them. And they needed the help pretty bad, and it's taken almost a week so far to make it to where I am. And then I got a couple things going on at home, so I apologize for you guys in Chicago, man. I feel for you. I was almost in Chicago when we had to turn around. Anyway, this video's got stuff going on with Arian. He had 3 Volvos. None of them was starting and running, so we got him where 2 of them starts and runs. The other one's having an issue still. Maybe a mass airflow sensor will fix him up. I'm going to try to finish this S60 engine install today if it takes me till midnight. It is hard to work in this heat down here. I was cramping from the top of my head all the way down to my knees yesterday. I was thinking about finding some kind of salt tablets. I'm taking blood pressure medication, so I hate to do that. But I took my blood pressure and it was low. So maybe it'll be okay. Yeah, I got to figure out a way to stop this cramping. Yeah, I drank a whole thing of Gatorade. That didn't stop it. It was pretty bad. Drank about 10 bottles of water, 2 cups of tea, a Coke, and it's hard. It was hard yesterday. So anyway, let me get going. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thanks for watching. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert. That's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Got some Volvo action going on. I guess Texas don't require a front plate, but there's a V70. We got a 240 there with the louvers and the yellow T5R. We're gonna get some work done today. We are having serious mobility issues here. The yellow car, we left it running, come outside, coolant's all over the ground, and it's got a little coolant light inside. Had to shut it down. The red one won't start, even with a jump box on it, so we're gonna move the battery over, see if we can get this thing to start, go get a battery for it. We're gonna see if it'll crank and start. No crank?
No crank.
Hit it again, hit it a couple times, and just hold it. Yeah, you might have a starter issue here. We're gonna pull the starter and take it to the auto parts store and get it tested. I went to go pull the starter, pull that 13mm off, and I touched the starter solenoid wire and it's unplugged. So I'm gonna reach down there and plug that in, and then we'll see if the car will crank. All right, so we're gonna try to crank it again, see if it'll crank at least. All right, it's cranking and running. So we're gonna hook everything back up on this turbo piping, and we got a moving car, folks. Okay, cut it off. Couple of vacuum issues. This vacuum hose here was totally destroyed, so we're replacing it. This is blown open, ends crumbled. He said he's having some tire wear issues, and man, I could see the air in that tire there. But these Toyos are rotted away. I'm looking for the date on them. He doesn't drive that much, so he's probably got, these tires are probably old. I guess the date is on the other side of them. But I need to get these tires replaced ASAP. What size are they? 225, 45, 17s. All right, so the heat in sitting around here has cracked even inside the treads of these tires. But the insides are totally gone. We got to get this thing to a tire shop next. Looking for oil leaks and coolant leaks. Don't see any evidence of coolant leaks. So the oil pan is wet. That oil's coming from somewhere. It's either the oil cooler lines or it's the PCV bung in the front here. I see oil all the way up there. Let me get under here and see if I can see if the oil cooler lines are leaking. Somehow this radiator is being supported by one bolt on the other side. Let me try to deal with that. And we have another thing to fix. One of his mechanics glued the wires together on the speed sensor. Never heard of that before, but I guess it held for a couple days. Fix that while we're here. Ready to block off these oil cooler lines. Stop that crap from leaking. He even put a wheel spacer on here to try to prevent this rubbing. I don't know if it stopped it or not, but you seen the inside of that tire. Have the block off plate installed and the thermostat removed. We're leaving the lines there. You can plug those with napkins or corks or something, or just leave them open, who cares? They sell little plugs that you could put over that and AutoZone in places. I don't have any. Next, we're gonna fix this ABS wire. Whoop, whoop. I don't know what kind of connection job that is, but this one seems okay. It's frayed. We'll do both of them. Make it right. Making it right. I got it. That's how that's supposed to be. See if we can figure out what's going on with this coolant reservoir. Well, I didn't realize this was a V70R. Our door panels, our seats, our floor mats, our front bumper. Oh man, we got some gauge pod action going on here. Climate control issues. Let's go check those. Left temp switch. He said he can only get AC out of here. He can't get any heat. We cleared the ABS code. It had 6 codes in the ABS, and the only one came back was the left front wheel sensor. So this is number 2. The number 1 code was a recycle motor. Cabin temp fan motor. That's the fan behind here, usually clogged up with dirt. Driver's temp motor position sensor. So that could be a bad blender motor. So there it is. Let's back up, see if we can erase and see what comes back. Everything erased. Let's start the car, run this through, see if something comes back. We don't have flashy lights. doesn't like the weak airflow through his vents here. I don't know if you can do anything about that. These cars just don't have massive flow through these vents. But your recycle position could be messed up. Let's see what we got here. No codes. Let's go back and monitor what's going on here. Left knob temp. Let's see if this thing changes the temperature. Max. We still got cold air. So the control panel works, but the blender motor may not be working. We'll see if that's plugged in. And that side's getting hotter. Yeah, that is not getting hot. It's not that warm, but this is still pretty cold. Let's go down and see what's going on now. Driver shutter 100%. Passenger temp 100%. It thinks this stuff is on hot. Go back down to low. And the passenger side looks like right. See if we got any error codes. No error codes. I should go to program, but I'm afraid to adjust the motors. Let me ask him if he wants to do that. But in the meantime, I'm going to pull this left wheel off and see why our left wheel sensor has an error code. Could be the module. Left wheel sensor module. Another busted wire on the wheel sensor. I don't know why these wires are so delicate on this guy's wheel sensor, but let me fix that. Get that off of there and fix it. All right, we also found the little cap that covers the starter out of place, so we put that in place. I thought the boost gauge wasn't working, but it does, but it's not showing any vacuum, so it's just a boost gauge, not a vacuum and boost gauge. But we got the wheels torqued, so that's done. He's going to order some tires and get some tires on this thing. This thing has a stage 3 tune on it, and it's not an R, it's just a T5, but he's got a lot of R equipment in there, like the seats and the front bumper, different stuff like that. So,
and our design logo.
And he's got the rear wing on it. So
yeah, I got the rear wing.
And he's got these mirrors on it. The mirrors like Panther got. Ain't that something? Anyway, we're going to hit this 240 next. I think it needs a fuel pump. See what else we got to get into on it. Get it running. We hit the starter and we don't hear no sound from the fuel pump. Fuel pump looks old, so we got one. We're going to replace it. I told these two 13 millimeter bolts out here. I tried to get the one out there and it's stuck. It's just spinning. So drop the front down. I'm gonna unplug these two leads. I'm gonna plug in my new pump. White lead up top, black lead down the bottom, and we're gonna hit the starter and just to see if this pump works. Make sure that works, and then we'll work on getting this pump and filter out of here. He's gonna hit the starter. We'll see if this pump works. That'll let us know if we got some electrical problem or a relay problem. All right, whoa.
What happened, Robert?
Nothing, the pump didn't activate.
What was that sound?
That the exhaust jumping around.
Really?
Yeah. Just bump the starter one time. Yeah, nothing's going on with this, so we're gonna check the relay. Do. So we have the yellow wire going to the yellow, the black going to the black, and we got bare wire here, so they could have shorted out. We're gonna check the fuses, but these wires need to be covered up. Then I can also plug in some female ends and jump this pump with a 12 volt jump pack and see if that'll make this thing run. But I want to make sure this pump works before we go through all this work putting this in. And now there's a wasp down here. We got 1,000 ants and wasp. This is going to be a challenge. We put 12 volts to the pump. Pump works. I used a dumbed down connector on the jump box.
You want me to do it, Robert?
Yeah, there you go. All right, so we got to figure out why the pump's not working in the car. We'll check the relay. The fuses look good. Talked to my buddy Tom. He said to test the fuel pump, you jump fuses 4 and 6. Coming down is the white, and then past the pink to the red. Jumped those two fuses right there, and the pump came on. Then I hit the starter, and the car started and ran until I pulled the jump wire off. So we're gonna see if we can figure out which prongs to jump on the relay. May have a bad relay. So we jumped the fuel pump and the car started and ran. So there's a relay or something bad somewhere, and it seems like the fuel pump relay may be good. Not 100% sure. So we're gonna go ahead and replace the fuel pump. It sounds like crap. It's old. The filter's old. One of the wrenches is a 17. The other one is like a 21, maybe a 22 on the back of it. So we're gonna disconnect the back fuel line. Then we're gonna disconnect the fuel line from the back of the pump and pull this unit out and then replace it and go from there. Sadly, I can't show you what I did, but I can tell you. I couldn't get the pump or the filter loose from the carriage with it hanging, so I secured the front of it back up. I put a 19 millimeter on the front of the filter, the 17 millimeter on the back of the filter where this fuel line went through a banjo bolt, and I started breaking it loose. Well, as it normally does, the line twists with the banjo bolt and it started to kink that vinyl line, which you don't want to damage. So I got vice grips and I twisted the head of this around to untwist the line, and I just went back and forth turning the bolt loose and twisting the line back. The line was twisting back, the bolt was twisting, but the bolt was not coming out of the filter. So after about 20 to 30 short stabs, something popped in that bolt because I thought it was stripped in the filter, and the bolt started coming out of the filter. It let the line loose. It dripped fuel down in the pan, and I got that bolt out. Then somebody put a clamp on this, maybe 100 years ago, could have been Volvo. The clamp had a Phillips screw in it that I couldn't get out. It's all rusted or whatever. I could not get anything to get that out. So I decided to go get my oscillating cutter and cut the clamp off, being careful not to cut into the line too much. So I just nicked the fuel line a little bit. After I got the clamp loose, I peeled it off because it didn't come open even though it was cut. Then I peeled it off and the line was stuck to the pump. So I got vice grips, put it around the line, massaged it back and forth until that came loose. I pulled the pump out, dumped most of the gas in there out of the pump and the filter. So here is that cartridge. Now when I was trying to get this banjo bolt out of the back of this filter, it popped those sockets out, those rubber mounts out of this big bracket down here. Now a lot of these are rusted out, but this one isn't. But I could not get that screw loose. So I pulled the nut off the proportioning valve, which held the strap of that bracket, but the bracket was on the top side, not the bottom side. So I had to get the other nut off of the other bolt holding the proportioning valve bracket in. Then I could unhook the strap off of the back of this bracket. So now I could try to figure out why that screw wouldn't come out of the bracket, straighten that bracket out and get that fixed. And now here's the pump and the filter. I need to try to get the pump and the filter out of this clamp. And I need to transfer this fuel line over to the new pump and filter.
No, we got a new one.
However, it looks like this fuel line may have a hole in it. So we need to get one if it does. He said he had a fuel leak. This might have been it. And you got a new fuel line?
Yeah, I got one.
He said he's got a fuel line, so we should be good to go.
Disconnect the clamps and
So
drop the pump. And
we're going to get this pump out of here and put this back together and put this all back up and hopefully be done with this job. The owner just about has everything to put this back together. He's got the big bracket there. He's got the fuel line adapter, the banjo bolts, the seals, the gaskets. We should be good to go. Now we do need these two clamps, the clamp for the fuel filter and the clamp for the fuel pump. I turned that T25, it did come loose. I removed that bolt there. Then I removed the two bolts that was holding this clamp bracket assembly to that plate right there. And we should be good to go. So let me,
this plate right here.
Yeah, that plate right there. So let me slide this out of here, slide the filter out of here, and start going in with the new stuff. So we got the filter in there. We got it in the clamp, fixed the rubber grommet on the clamp, got it started. We got the fuel pump in its clamp, got the bolt in there and the bolt under there, snug, not tight. We got the fuel pump in here. We got it upside down from the way it is there. So we're going to take that loose and spin that around so that the yellow lead is, it really don't matter as long as you see which one's ground, which one's positive, but we're going to flip it around so that it was like that one there. The point on it is pointing away from the filter. Right here, the point is pointing to the filter. So we're going to spin that around. Then we got a crush washer there with a rubber grate gasket on there under this fuel line. Then we're going to put another one of those on top of the fuel line. Then we're going to put the banjo bolt. And we're going to tighten this stuff up. So let me do that. Now we got that tight, the bolt on the back side down the bottom tight. We're going to put anti-seize or grease or something over that to make it so that they don't rust in. We're going to put some rust proofing on that. That's tight. The gasket's still in right. The hose is tight coming out the pump. The line is not crimped. The 19 is tight going in there. So now we got these rubber bumper vibrating absorbers. We're going to put those in. Then we're going to transfer this over to here and bolt this down here, and we're going to use this new plate because we got new stuff, and if you got it and it's this handy, you use it and it looks better. So that was it. I got the V70 running, things taken care of where he could drive that car. He don't have a functioning window in that car on the driver's side, so we'll probably be dealing with that. And the 240, we got the fuel pump and stuff replaced, but it's still not starting and running right. And then we got to deal with that yellow T5R. So stay tuned for part 2 tomorrow. Woo woo!